Gentlemen, and welcome to this public workshop. I want to thank each of you for coming. Can everyone hear me okay? Do I need to be louder? It's all good. Okay, perfect. This workshop is for the purpose of your input, your opinions, your ideas as we begin to talk about the Senior Citizen Center in Lynn Haven. There's so many wonderful things going on, and it's nice now to talk about, instead of cleaning up, talking about rebuilding and moving back to where we were. But before we do that this evening, I have to admit to you that as a mayor tonight, I've been a bit deceitful to one of our residents. That would be Mr. Harry Warnberg. Harry thinks that he's at this meeting to discuss Roberts Hall and some of the changes that we might make at that. His family helped me with this. But at this time, I will let Mr. Warnberg stay seated until I read this, because I don't want him to have to stand. But he is a very special individual. He's sitting down here on the front row with his wife and his family. And the first time that I met Harry, if I may be so familiar, Harry, we've known each other a while, I was looking for a place to rehearse. As most of you know, I have a band and I sing as an entertainer. And we have that in common, except that Harry is a better singer and songwriter than I am. He is a magnificent singer, and as is the rest of his family. But the first time I met him, and I won't divulge his exact age, but it is above 80, and he was on the top of Roberts Hall with a hammer working on it. And his carpentry brought it to life. Hank Williams once performed on the stage. Harry's family, his son, refinished these hardwood floors. The beautiful murals throughout that building were preserved. If you're like me, it was a country store when I was a little girl on a dirt road that you could go to in the daytime, and it's been owned by the Odd Fellows since its building, and Harry is also a member of the Odd Fellows. So I want to read this first, a proclamation, and as I read the proclamation, I do want to tell you that this recognition tonight, I had actually planned to do a proclamation, but Commissioner Tender came up with the idea tonight, and she asked me to present it as the mayor. But I want to give Commissioner Tender full credit for coming up with the idea of presenting a Patriot Award to Mr. Warnberg. And Commissioner Tender, I just think that was such a marvelous idea, and I'm so happy to be able to do that tonight. And so, without further ado, whereas Hurricane Michael may have destroyed many buildings and homes, it could not take away our sense of community, our strong need to help one another, or love for our city. And whereas generosity and perseverance during the darkest of times allows for our community to hold on to what is most important, the community itself. And whereas the city of Lynn Haven recognizes with respect and admiration the contribution of Mr. Harry Warnberg to the city of Lynn Haven, and whereas commends Mr. Warnberg for his dedication to the restoration and regeneration of Roberts Hall, a historic landmark of Lynn Haven, whereas his numerous hours of craftsmanship and hard work for this project have greatly impacted the city as a whole, because the building was complete, it was renovated, and it was beautiful before Hurricane Michael ripped it apart in just a few hours' time and left only a frame standing. And for Harry to have put all the work that he did into it and then have to stand and look at it, I can only compare that a little bit to, as mayor, looking at where we had come as a city and then seeing everything gone, Harry. So whereas his generosity, this is the part you'll love, when he saw the building torn apart after all of his efforts, he came forward with his money. His generosity of $100,000 for rebuilding Roberts Hall will allow this facility to not only be restored, but will create an even better meeting and event location. And whereas the community will have a beautifully restored building, allowing for more programs, events, and added normalcy during this time of rebuilding. And now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me, Margot Anderson, as mayor of the city of Lynn Haven, and on behalf of this city commission and all the citizens of Lynn Haven, I do hereby proclaim July 23rd, 2019 to forever be Harry Warnberg Day, honoring Mr. Warnberg for his dedication in beautifying and restoring Lynn Haven. In witness whereof I do hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Lynn Haven to be affixed this 23rd day of July, 2019. So I'd like to present this to you in just a moment, but I have one other thing as well. And this will be the key to the city of Lynn Haven, presented by Mayor Margot Anderson to Mr. Harry Warnberg for his patriotism and in recognition of his work to preserve and to restore one of Lynn Haven's most beloved historical buildings, Roberts Hall. Not only by his hundreds of hours of labor and carpentry craftsmanship, but through his generous donation of $100,000 for repairs to the building in the aftermath of Hurricane Michael, which devastated the entire city on October 10th, 2018. Mr. Warnberg, would you come forward and let us all recognize you and also take a photograph? And your family, would you like to come and stand with him, please? Harry said this is Emily's money as well. At this time, we will delve into our workshop now to talk about the Lynn Haven Senior Citizens Center. And Mr. Warnberg and family, we hope that you'll stay for this workshop as well, but at any time that you want to exit to do more interesting things, if you feel led to do so, please feel free. So we will start out this evening. We want this to just be an open forum. We have as much time as we need for anyone here who wishes to speak. Before we start with the public commentary, your ideas, your questions, your suggestions, just a couple of things. You have a green card and a red card in your hand. If you agree with what's being said, you can show the commission by holding up the green card. If not so much, you can hold up the red card. And if you don't like our reaction or something we say, you can do the same thing, and it gives us immediate feedback as we go forward. Before we start, I wanted to just make one comment, and then I would allow any members of the commission who would like to make a comment as well. But I wanted to assure all the senior citizens who are here this evening of our commitment as a city and as a commission to the rebuilding of the Senior Citizen Center to a facility that's even better than it was before. We had just gotten to such a great start with everything, with the new program when things happened that we weren't counting on. But please do not take the delay as a lack of importance of this project. We have so many government hoops to jump through, for a better word, to make sure that we're reimbursed. We've had to go through insurance and FEMA reimbursement and many other items on a list that we have to check off as we move forward. But we're finally there, and City Manager will probably, and I'll give her an opportunity as well before we start, we'll have some updates for you on where we are with the City Hall. So, with the Senior Citizen Center. I'm sorry, we have several projects going at one time. So at this time, I'd just like to start with Commissioner Tender, and we'll work our way this way and allow City Manager and the other commissioners and even the attorney. If everyone, I said that sort of like you were at the bottom of the barrel, even the attorney. I didn't mean it quite like that. So if everyone would like to make a comment, and then we'll open it to public. Thank you so much. Commissioner Tender?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm certainly all aboard for the Senior Center. I'm very excited to have a bigger and better Senior Center, a place for our seniors to stay in Lynn Haven and not have to travel across town, like I know so many of them are doing right now. So I'm totally 100% on board. And that's all I have to say.
Commissioner Russell?
Thank you, Mayor. I too would just like to reiterate your words. We're looking forward to this, and I'm looking forward to your input, and I'm excited about the possibilities for the city of Lynn Haven now. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And our acting city manager, Mrs. Vicki Gaynor.
Thank you, Mayor. We are very, very excited. I think I've met with several of you, talked to so many of you on the phone to keep you updated. I really can just give praise to the fact that the seniors have kept going even through this. They have found places to meet. They have found activities to do, and they are still sticking close. And so with that in mind, tomorrow we will do the bid opening for the senior center, the service center, and the garden club. What does that mean for you? That means that when we do those bid openings, hopefully we'll get some great bids in of how and how long it will take to get those buildings up and going. And then from there, we'll be able to start the construction on all three of those buildings. One of the first things we said when I got in this position is that all of these buildings needed roofs on them. They're going to get that. We know that the senior center was a little bit more damaged than the rest of the two buildings. And so it had some structural damage, but we included that in the bid packet so that we could secure the building, make it structurally sound, and then be able to have our staff go in and add some special touch to it. I don't know if you know, but we have a great talented staff, and they are just chomping at the bit to get in and restore the senior center and the garden club and of course the service center. So it is right around the corner. Tomorrow the bid opening's at 10 a.m. and I know that we've had some people who have already submitted, and we'll find out who those are tomorrow. So I thank you for being patient. I thank you for just continuing to hold on, and I thank all of the board, all of the seniors and the people that are part of the senior center that continues to push us. And we hear you, we love you, and we know this is going to happen sooner than you think.
Thank you. You got a lot of green cards on that one, yes. Commissioner Aldridge?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor. This is an exciting time. I agree. This is of the utmost importance to me, our young people and our seniors. To me, that is so important. You know, we just got back in my church building about a week ago, and it was destroyed, and it was a mess trying to get it rebuilt and put back together and getting the roof back on. And I thought I had a nice church before the storm. I was very proud of my church building. After the storm, now that it's been completely rebuilt, it wasn't as nice as I thought it was. It's really nice now, though. My point in telling you that story is this senior center is something to be excited about. It's going to be a completely new building when we get done with it, with plenty of opportunity for us to get together and have a lot of good time. So I just want to encourage all of you, be excited. This is the fun part of the rebuild. We're past the hard, now it's the fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Perno?
On October 2nd last year, I got to meet with a lot of people from the senior center. We provided a lunch, and their faces were bright and shiny, and it was amazing to see everybody. I think there was over almost 100 people in the room that day, and actually that's the day I announced my candidacy for city commissioner, and it was welcomed, and I'm looking forward to seeing y'all's faces again and enjoying that building like y'all were enjoying it that day, and you know, it's whatever it turns out to be, and just going forward in a place that y'all are comfortable with is important. And I want to see y'all again having a good time. I want to participate with you, and want to move forward and just make it the best it can be for you guys. I look forward to seeing what Mr. Horton and the city services people are planning for our parks, and I think they're talking. I've been to 2 meetings, and I met a bunch of y'all at the first one, and I know they're talking about pickleball in our public parks, and that's going to be a good thing for y'all to get out and do, and you know, activities and stuff that are more geared towards seniors, and you know, I think y'all are great for keeping an eye on the city when you're out in our parks and stuff like that, and it's not just the senior center. Just seeing you guys out and about is a great thing, and seeing y'all back in Lynn Haven will be great. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Albritton?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say that that this city commission and staff is working very diligently for all of the citizens, but this is certainly an issue that is very near and dear to this commission, and that the citizens can rest assured that this commission will work as quickly as they can to get everything back up and running and back to normal again.
Thank you so much. And if you haven't met Mr. Albritton, he has been working as our city attorney since the storm. And I wanted to recognize one other person who's been very crucial in helping us navigate through all these processes, and that's Mr. Jay Moody in the back. He's been helping us with finances. He is an accountant and has done some great things for us. So without further ado, let's move into the public commentary. If you would, when you come to the microphone, if you need help adjusting it, we'll get someone with staff to help you do that. We have an audience at home. If you're watching from home, you can certainly make comments as you're watching on Facebook so that we can hear from you as well. So who's first? Come on up.
Name is Don Ball, 805 West 3rd Street. On the senior center, when they rebuild that, one of the wishes of most of us is there's an exit from one room to the other into the far side instead of going through the kitchen. There's 2 bookshelves that was built in there. They could make a doorway or something in that spot there. And it would make it a lot easier to communicate back and forth and do things in the other room.
I think that's excellent, and I don't know if you've been inside, but there's most of it's sort of ripped out right now, so you have a fresh easel to work on in there. Thank you. I'm sure they heard that in the back. Anyone else? Yes, go ahead.
Joanne Navarrete, 109 Lakeview Terrace, Lynn Haven, Florida. With the subject of the senior center, I would just like to say if you can consider maybe allowing some space for exercising classes. I currently go to the Roberts Hall. We were fortunate enough to find a Zumba class there and another class. Many of us used to go to Healthplex, and that's gone. We're not quite the Planet Fitness group, but it would be nice to keep something in Lynn Haven. I'm all for the pickleball, but again, if we can do something like that, the turnout for the Roberts Hall Zumba class is just, it's phenomenal. So that's my comments.
There's going to be more open spaces now, if I may.
There's going to be more open space, is my understanding, and how we're looking at it.
That is very true.
And someone had also mentioned mirrors so that you can, for dancing, and so that you can see your steps and all that. Yep. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. You can speak in place if it's difficult, or come on up.
Inside program different than what laid out, in the old building. It could be too small for many different kinds of activities with the walls that can be put back and forth, the partition to smaller, and that's what I'm interested in, that the building will be used to the fullest and the most economically also.
Thank you. Thank you. If you couldn't hear everything that was being said, she was asking that once the design is in place for the inside, that be published before it's finalized so that everyone could have a little more input. And then also that maybe some of the walls could be movable and that there would be more open spaces. That it would be done the most economical way possible. Did I get everything? Okay, thank you. And you had a lot of support for those comments. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I have 3 things. I'm Sherry Moore, and I live on 910 Alabama Avenue, right across the street. First off, I'd like to say thank you for all you've done. It's amazing to see such leadership and support, not only through such devastation, but all the help that you were willing to put out for the storm that was coming. Thankfully, it didn't hit us, but providing sandbags and so forth, it kind of gives hope for, if something does come again someday, we're still trucking along and going to be there for the people. So the other 2 things that I would like to address is, one is an idea, and unfortunately, I don't have funds to donate something like this to the city. If I did, I would, but the idea is to create a program, a place. In Huntsville, Alabama, there's a place called Makers, and it's their building is a ratty old building, but it's an amazing place. People go there to make things. And it's really cheap. Anybody can go there for free. However, you have to be sponsored or with someone, somebody has to be in the building and they have to be willing to let you in. Otherwise, the cost is whatever you can afford. One guy pays like $5 a month. And what this place is they've got, they receive a lot of donations. They've got 3D laser printers. They have laser, cuts metal, cuts wood, all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's computer programmers there. They have things for electronics. There's reels and reels of resistors and all sorts of stuff. And it's just incredible to see the things that they make there. And I could see something like that here in the future. There's a lot of people here who have a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of folks that maybe don't have, the senior citizens, they may not have the same energy that they used to have, but they have a lot of knowledge that they could be sharing with the people. I attended the garden club before, and the garden club, it was amazing how much stuff I learned. It would be nice if we did that, to use those resources, those people, to not only have a garden club, but also be out and, helping our community beautify itself, because I want to make my own place look nice, but I don't know what to do necessarily. I get on YouTube and so forth, but it's nice when you have a community of people sharing knowledge. So that's the one idea, and I would be willing to help get that going someday down the future. I can't always be here at the meetings, so I just wanted to get it on the table. The other thing is that I was hoping to find out some information about what's going on with the school and the parking and the big pond that's over there, and drainage. I met with the school before when they were building the cafeteria with concerns because we were having a lot of water runoff, and the water runoff affects the houses that are across the street. And so I'm not sure what's on the table, but the drainage, I know we have drainage issues everywhere, and Lynn Haven's been working on those, but just would like to know what's going on with that and what the plans are.
We are going to be talking further in the commission meeting tonight about the NRSC, I can never get it out, grant for clearing waterways. Part of that is school property that you're talking about and not Lynn Haven property, but we will be discussing that a little more in the commission meeting tonight.
Right. So the water is, instead of following the road and going down into the drain, it's coming across the street and into our driveways. So when I met with Bay County and before this cafeteria was built, all the neighbors got together and we met. We also had the Lynn Haven Public Works folks come over and take a look at things. And there's drainage, but the ditch needs to be redone or whatever. And yes, Lynn Haven was pointing at Bay County, and Bay County was pointing at Lynn Haven.
Even diverting what you're talking about, but we're trying to keep this hearing more about the Senior Citizens Center.
Oh, got you.
But when we get to the commission workshop, we'll be discussing drainage. If you could hold maybe a little bit of it for then, and then we could get our Public Works Director and some others to address some of your questions, if that would be okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you very much. Was that all you needed to talk about? Okay. And I didn't mean to cut you off. We're just trying to stay on this topic, okay? Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to talk about that? And I loved your ideas, the crafts and all. Great.
Mayor, could I add?
Go ahead, sure.
On your art workshop, let me ask you it is a pretty cool idea. What do they work with? Is it people donating scraps, metals, or do they bring their own stuff and then the tools are there for them to make whatever they're wanting to make? It's both.
People, will donate to the facility. I don't know where someone donated these big spools of resistors. And
Right.
just take them off and use them. They do use their funds to buy more, so the more donations they get, the more things they can do with their facility and more tools they can buy.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mayor?
And go ahead, Commissioner Tender.
I just wanted to say, I love the idea about, when you said about the sharing what they know, I instantly thought Knowledge Corner with KK instead of KC, but I also think it would be great to have a designated area, and name it whatever you want, I know this or what I know, and have seniors post tips and hints and things that they know that would help everybody. Because I would be one to go over there and read it for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. And along those same lines, for those who may not know, the Lynn Haven Senior Citizen Center is now a 501c3 organization, which means they are a separate entity from the city that we provide a building for. And so as we move forward, any donations that are made to them are fully tax deductible, which hopefully will bring in a lot of donations for you, not only because people love you, but because they'll be able to deduct it from taxes as well. So, anyone else?
I have two from Facebook. So we have Bonnie that would like to see crochet. Can you hear me? Bonnie, who would like to see crochet and knitting classes.
And you're bringing this from Facebook? Okay, so crocheting classes.
And then Cindy would like to see treadmills in the AC.
Treadmills and?
In the AC.
Okay.
Outside, they would be in the AC.
Nice, okay.
That's it for now.
Thank you. Anyone else that's present would like to speak? Come ahead.
I'm Mrs. Ball, and I would like to say that our senior center does have chair aerobics, and when we get it going, we usually do have crafts. Every so often, we will have different programs that will be listed. We'll be knitting or crocheting. We play cards all the time, but the idea of working with metal and machinery is not something that I think most of our seniors would be able to handle very well. A lot of the seniors are women, and they're not used to handling this equipment. But if it's other things like we did have sewing, we did have puzzles, we do a lot of things, but crafting things, a lot of us have arthritis or we're not as agile as we used to be. But this stuff will be available in the senior center as far as I'm concerned. We will be offering different programs, but we have to get our center back together and work toward that. Okay?
And that will be probably something your board would decide, what
Yes.
what activities that you want
Yes.
to bring in, of course.
Yes.
But making things is kind of an exciting concept.
But I
Isn't
want
it?
to thank you so much for putting us forward on this and working with the senior center. We are so grateful. Thank you so much.
Very welcome from everybody up here. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Mark Kalouris. I used to go to the senior center quite a bit, and I also have a degree in hotel restaurant management, so I would see the food lines, being jammed up, and that was one of the things that we didn't address, but it took too many people having to line up to go through a line to get fed. And that was because of the layout of the building. You had a small window that was putting out the food as quickly as they could. And when you come to your redesigning part, there's flow of traffic that would make that easier. And also, I think everybody likes pizza. Whenever we had pizza or simple food, and it wouldn't be a stretch, I don't believe, to make a pizza oven to be at the facility. So rather than, well, it's kind that people want to donate, but we could actually do a very inexpensive luncheon once in a while using the pizza oven. That's all.
Those are great suggestions. I would say that two of our present commissioners are restaurant owners, so they're probably going to be a great help. And then I believe, Mr. Horton, that we do have a pizza oven or warmer in our concession stand that's nearby. So there may be some ways to work that together. And I see all kinds of possibilities coming up. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Lyle Burton, 917 Pennsylvania.
If you would come to the microphone, because of the fact that people are listening at home, thank you so much.
I just want to first say thank you, city, for my fabulous rat-free view of the beautiful senior center. now that the house is gone next door. Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
It's beautiful. I would also like to say that hearing some of these ideas, it would be kind of neat to see like maybe a big band dance night kind of thing, fundraiser, ballroom dancing. I am a fantastic dancer, my wife would tell you. She makes a fantastic homemade pizza, so we'll volunteer our time for any of that. But I would like to see some sort of like dance thing, maybe if it's, some of our seniors that don't have a partner or something, we could, adopt a date kind of thing. And I think it'd be fun, that's all.
Sounds great.
Yippee.
Adopt a date. I see lots of green cards on that one. That's wonderful. And volunteers. Okay.
And Mayor.
Please go ahead.
Just to ping off of that, because of the board, you have the opportunity to set and write your own path for the senior center. You will be a 501c3. You will be able to decide how you want to fundraise, what you want to do, what things that you want to see seniors put within the building.